Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 66th episode of our first YouTube run through Book of Hours, playing as the artist. You just missed some very lovely music. I'm sorry that I didn't hit record a little bit faster. So we are looking forward to opening up a couple more areas using the miner. I do want to get this out of the way as quickly as I can so that we can get Mrs. Kill potentially generating some memories for us. This will hopefully free up a few elements of the soul, which can then be used to pick up things like the different types of wood. One thing I'm going to do is earn myself a little bit of money doing manual labor, just because I can restore that. I don't need to use every element of the soul immediately. In fact, I know one of them has been freed up already because we have a rainy day. But of course, the hope is that we'll be able to get a few more as well. Manual labor. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. And as always, the first tuppence that'll come out of that will go straight towards restoring the core. But okay, we'll work alongside each other. So now we will give the miner the old moment. You've had them too, those moments when we seem to look out at the world through another's eyes. What if those moments were real? I can discuss a memory with an assistant. So these fortunately don't take too long to do. Now I suppose technically I'm breaking my usual rule with the old moment, because the old moment is one of those things that does cost me quite a bit to be able to produce. But I'm not too worried about it, just because this is going to be the primary focus of the day. So I'll follow that up with the serpent-styled glass. It is worth mentioning here, carved snakes writhe down the frame. A prominent inscription reads, "To the librarian Gervenius, in earnest of our wager." So recall, we found out about that wager in the previous book that we read. I can lend my assistant something to help increasing their abilities. Now while we do that, it would be a good idea for me to pour the Strathcoin whiskey. I don't recall if we had any. This is, I think, Armagnac D's? Yes. I don't quite know my way around Hush House's liquors yet. There we go. Okay. The Wind's Ruin, the second volume of the Meditations of Abbot Thomas of the Abbey of the Black Dove. Abbot Thomas speaks of his times as a raider when his name was not Thomas the Toke. Was not Thomas, but Toke, scything the sea, striving for plunder. Abbot Thomas clearly regrets his storm years, and much of the book is taken up with his thoughts on penitence. But there are hints that he also misses those years and the companionship of his sword brother, ship brother, Trygive. Okay. So again, the hope here is that we're going to be able to economize on elements of the soul, although we are getting close to a point of no return in terms of harvesting some things from Crowcross Sands. And I think I actually already closed off excuse me, the walk on the moor. So maybe why... No, actually picking up mackerel is still a good idea, so we'll leave the tryst for Crowcross Sands, but... And come to think of it, I do have the heart that I can apply to the moor. So yeah, I was a little premature to call it a lost cause. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. Spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. Alright, this tool has boosted their aspects appropriately, so we're now up to 8 with the miner. We'll now feed them Strathcoin whiskey. The collector has collected a distillery, it seems. Oops, we do not talk to the whiskey. A nice drop. I can offer my assistant something to drink. This will increase their aspects. They'll also be glad of the refreshment. And I think I'm going to take a chance on a walk on the moor. Gather in spring, the gorse is bright on the land's nape. In fact, I'm going to go really bold. So I have quite a deficit of elements of the soul to make up now, but I'm reasonably confident I will be able to do so. And the Inks of Revelation can be the ones that get jettisoned if it doesn't turn out. Down to the Grushians. This has boosted their aspects appropriately. So one last task, that's going to be to feed them some mackerel. Mackerel, eat it while it's fresh or keep it while it's salted. Offer something to eat. I can offer my assistant something to eat. This will increase their aspects. It's also just friendly. So you can see here we only have 3 elements of the soul, and we were going to do something that requires essentially 3 for the Inks of Revelation, and then 4 for Resurgences and Emergences. So essentially I'm relying on creating 7 memories. Technically 5, because we've already got the Rain and the Beguiling Melody, but 5 memories out of 3, which is a fairly tall order, but again we'll be able to get some help from Mrs. Kill, and we're also not fully stuck. I think I'll bring back the health in this case because I can use this to make some money in a pinch. So it took us half of a day to get the miner up to the level that we needed. That's going to be some good information just in future. I think it's still worth it to bring in Mrs. Kill. Essentially, if she gives me 1 memory, it's even, and if she brings me more than 1 memory, I'm up for the day. But Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. Add something to enhance Mrs. Kill's effectiveness for the day, or just talk. Unlike some assistants, Mrs. Kill can make use of fabric. I never actually did take a look at what the miner could use, so they're just the standard entries. Okay, now I do have a bit of a choice here, so we could take care of the Collapsed Cellar or the Rustling Stair. I am slightly tempted on both of them, but in this case I'm going to go for the Collapsed Cellar. 1, because this is an interesting item to open up, but number 2, we are already sort of working our way down on the cave, so this seems to be a little bit more, just a little more interesting overall. The roof has fallen in, we will need to dig it out. I suppose another way of thinking of this would have been, well, what do I do with Moon, right? Do I feel like I would have had an opportunity with Nectar, let's say? But I don't think that's not really the way I want to be thinking about this right now. Oriflams, thanks you for your continued interest. The book may become available for purchase again later. So I'm going to need to keep an eye on the timer. There it is in Camino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Okay, so that's the first of our Inks of Revelation improvements. So now I've got 3 of the 7 that I needed, so I need 4 for 4. We're actually getting a 5th, so if I want, I can either use that to make some money, or I can use that to open the packages. I'll probably open the packages. Unexpected finds in the folds of earth and sky. We found a vase of gorse, as Cornish a plant as any. Let's find a place to put that. I think I started leaving some empty. Yeah, we can put that in the music room. that cat's seen things. Sea strewn, salt snared stuff. Feed some animals to earn their loyalty. Feed this one and earn its patience. Ah, yes. This is a fun little bug. I'll take a minute. We do need to find a place for the cat. Now, I do have one standard place for the cat in my other playthrough, but I kind of feel like the cat might hang out in the kitchen. So we'll put that there. I definitely do want to earn the cat's loyalty, but we'll worry about that a little bit later, because I have a few other tasks that I want to get a handle on first. Okay, so now what I might want to think about here is what do I think is most likely? So I've basically got one more opportunity with the sweet bones, and I could use that to earn some more money, which isn't all that necessary because I've already got quite a bit. Or I could, alternatively, I could try and recover an element of the soul, but I want to think about what I'm getting for that. And I'm actually kind of coming up short. I am still going to go for it. And let's say, yeah, we'll bring back a core. But in this case here, I may actually be setting myself up for a little bit of disappointment, just given what may happen with Mrs. Kill and all of the different elements of the soul that I need for upgrades. I suppose I could use the opportunity to feed the cat. There it is in Camino Tizard. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scat trace of the continent in her accent now. Unfortunately, the fear doesn't give me much in terms of memories. Now, one thing that would be nice if I had some way of getting nectar at, well, I guess it wouldn't have to be nectar at an instrument. It could be nectar at an altar, but we don't have a nectar altar yet. I believe we need to go down below for that, but yeah, I do want to play around with this just a little bit. So if we added the fear, well, we wouldn't need to add the, oh, we would, because, okay, so we can get an omen. Interesting. Okay, so if I can put the earth sign, okay. So I can't have more than one earth sign. I only have one health. It really feels like there's a way to crack this. And I'm just coming up short. Because the problem is, I keep thinking back to the old moment. I'm like, oh yeah, old moment. That's for scale. That's a piece of cake. But then I'm like, well, I'm trying to create the old moment, so it's a little bit. If you've ever had to do proofs in school, that is, assume. Well, I notice begs the question doesn't really get used for the logical fallacy anymore. But my understanding of begs the question definitely is that it is assuming the. It's assuming the conclusion. So, all right. No, I was interested for a minute, but what I'm basically looking for. Actually, hang on. Coil and chasm. Nah, see, it's the scale and the nectar that throws me. Because I was thinking there's a couple of the, like there's the chancel, which allows me to put some edge in. But the problem is that it doesn't allow me to put coil and chasm in, so that defeats that effort. And of course, I always have the option of the pale desk, but the pale desk I would be waiting for an ink, which may be an option, but not immediately available to me. I'll stop thinking about that for now. Let's go back to our work. And I think I'm already restoring something. So we'll maybe wait on the bells. We should be able to get one more out of Mrs. Kill. Even if we do get actually, yeah, I've still got a minute. Even if we're a little late, I think I can work with. 12 seconds, gonna take me a minute. I'm losing my nerve. And you know what? Let's go for the guarantees. So, oh, I don't have guarantees, right? Or no, I should bittersweet certainty. Yeah, bittersweet certainty will definitely help with the lantern. So forge the work accomplished. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. So I'm looking for moth, moth lantern, and grail. Yeah, none of these really do the trick. I'm gonna try for a gossip. Actually, I think I'll go for the impulse in this case. Because impulse works on both of these. I probably should have used the Arab because I can use the core for other things. Okay, satisfaction. That's gotten us our resurgences and emergences, so that's good. There it is in Camino Tizzer. And I could actually use this to buy... I could use this to make some money. Better now. Let me just take stock again. So I'm getting a bittersweet certainty. I'm getting an impulse. Okay, so a bittersweet certainty and an impulse. I've already got the foresight. So I think probably revelation is the one I go for now. I'll read letters to my successor just because that that had something relevant to the serpent style glass. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it, perhaps recall a memory. I'm also just trying to think, so if I want to talk to the cat, that's fine, but that means that I open the way for not talking to Mrs. Kill. I can decide what to do about that later. Okay, we got a satisfaction back. So, there it is in Camino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scat trace of the continent and her accent now. Now is the time for me to lock in everything for today. So, this is an impulse. Okay, so if I am reading this correctly, Inks of what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this by skill because otherwise I'm liable to make a mistake. So, Inks of Revelation, Glimmerings provides the bittersweet certainty. We need 3, so that's 2. Radiance provides or letters to my successor provides revelation. So that is the third. So we are good with Inks of Revelation. Resurgences and Emergences requires 4. We have Rain, a Beguiling Melody, and Satisfaction. That is being covered by the Impulse right now. So of the remaining things that I need to do, it would be nice to have something to carry over to the next day. We're going to need something for Resurgences and Emergences. So in that case, I think it would make sense to use... oh, heck. I didn't really plan out the use of the desks all that well. What we'll do is we will tame the beastie here. Feed the beastie. Satisfy this creature's appetite. And then what I will do as the last step, I'm going to get myself another Beguiling Melody, because that's one thing that Mrs. Kill is not going to get me. And oh, hang on. I don't know if I can take that with me into Dream. I can, because it's Grail. Alright, sorry. I know that took more thinking than... strictly required, but I do have a bad habit of assuming a couple of steps over the course of, you know, in that kind of final time at the end of the day. So it's not bad to just take a moment and make sure everything is in order. All right, night has fallen, dawn will come soon. Something lost. Crack open the container. Delight in your discovery. A canvas. I have never seen a canvas before. Your picture here. Now, I'm a little worried about my ability to get everything done. Okay, so we've got the Bittersweet Certainty. I suspect I'm actually going to be down a couple of elements of the soul tomorrow. So let's start by leveling up Resurgences and Emergences. So my guess here is that this is going to take us long enough that the Faust is going to not be available to me tomorrow, but that is the consequence for waiting. This feels like it would be appropriate for this room, but yeah, that covers the... well, we'll put it there for now. Okay, I'll read this again just because we... so the reason why is serpent-styled glass, carved snakes writhe down the frame. A prominent inscription reads, "To the librarian Gervinius, in earnest of our wager. Advice from Gervinius Van Loren, 11th librarian of Hush House, to the one who will come after him. Some of the advice is practical. Don't worry about losing the house key. Always close the seaward windows. Make sure you feed the cockatoo. Much more of it is rarefied specifically about the Inks of Revelation, and some of it relates to Van Loren's own doom. When I was another, I made a foolish wager with the hooded princes to solve 7 riddles. I had not realized the riddles would be set by me for the one I would become. 6 are resolved. The 7th will be the end of me. It waits now in the cellar of the jail, where Collars still believes I can keep it confined. But the first riddle told me I would not see the second dawn." Okay, let's see if we get lucky on time. I believe night is just a little bit longer than a minute. Okay, the Skeleton Songs, poems of greedy... Poems of Greedy Delight, composed by the possibly pseudonymous Arbella Dusk, the rumored heiress turned madam turned poetess. In Arbella's introduction, she explains that the book was to be illustrated, but that the Suppression Bureau would not permit it. She hints that the illustration still exists somewhere. The book is dedicated to Sir Parzival of the Red Cup. The 26 Delightful Fruits, the 7 Chastisements, the 9 Gardens, the 4 Regrets. So we want to make sure that that gets properly put away. Dream on a memory. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. A full belly makes a helpful friend. Pet cat. Oh, you were hoping to work on that desk. 2 grail, 2 heart, 2 moth. Not even close. Memories fade, assistance departs, but the soul is refreshed. So I'm going to chuck a core into the sweet bones just so I can recover my Faust right away. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. Okay, so I also didn't take the time to actually read the Earthseller, so we'll do that now. In the time of the Abbey, this was a shrine to St. Lucia the Eyeless. Since the heresies of the Intercalate, the Church of the Unconquered Sun considers her an aspect of the hour called Menascate, but back then she was just the patron saint of stained glass workers and eye doctors. The tree in Earl Bryan's field outside was traditionally hung with stained glass ornaments on St. Lucia's Day. Since the dissolution of the Abbey, though, it's mostly been vegetables in here. There's a few items in here, so we've got a basket of apples, notoriously hard to take just one bite. A basket of onions, notoriously easy to take just one bite. The prima materia of cooking. This may be why the cosmos is shaped so like an onion. Basket of vegetables, gifts from the garden, and basket of leeks, the mark of Sir David's triumph, and very good in soup. I believe the rest of these are decorative. But it sure looks tasty. I am actually feeling a little hungry. So, the mist-sunk meadow. There's grass beneath my feet and a mingle of wildflower scents. But, above all, the damp salt vapors and a thick sea fog. Somewhere in that fog, I think I hear a distant bell, far away, as it were beneath the sea. Perhaps this can be blown away, perhaps sung away, if I bring the right powers and the right assistance. So, I believe this distant bell is Ys again. But in this case, we're going to need 11 nectar, 11 rose, or 11 sky. So these are definitely the challenging ones for us to handle. And we don't have too much time left, so in terms of things that we want to get done by spring, I would ideally like to get another. Round with the miners. But I'm not quite ready to give up all the wood that I have. So I either need to find an alternative path, which to be completely honest with you, I don't think is happening, or I need to get lucky on the moor, which is fine because I may not have other things to do. Also, I just wanted to talk about this bug briefly. So apparently, for some people's games, Hendrik Dewulf vanished. So this is you can still click on both of these things. And in solving that bug, apparently it spawned a bunch of pale momets. So I got unlucky here. I apparently only have 1. But yeah, on my other playthrough, I think I got 2 or 3. And I don't know, it's a strange one. But also very amusing. So, okay, let's... This may not be a... Also, hang on. There was something about Serena Blackwood with the... Okay, we technically don't have a date for Serena Blackwood yet. So I suppose there's 2 ways for me to think about today. It does make sense for me to talk with Mrs. Kill again, so let's queue her up. And the reason I say that is, so if I had a follower that would be opening up an area, clearly it would make more sense. But we need 11 for the forge. We need 10 for Moon and Nectar. We have no idea where those are coming from. 11 from the scale, and we know that we're going to need an old moment before we do that. And then 11 Nectar, Rose, or Sky. And then I'm kind of reluctant to go into these other areas, but the other challenge would be Edge, Forge, or Knock. Now, the Forge and Knock are probably things that we'd be able to accomplish, and then Squawkphologia is 9 Rose and 9 Sky. So, given that this is also kind of already on our path, we may want to focus on this tower anyway. But basically, it's a good idea for me to clear out Resurgences and Emergences. I already am up 1, so I need 4 more memories, possibly even less if I get lucky and I wind up with another weather that helps me out. Given what I have available, I may just be able to take the Fett to go to the moor, and the Tristan Crowcross Sands. We use the rest to boost up Resurgences and Emergences. But I don't know. It would be nice if I could. It'd be nice if I could make a little bit more of the day somehow. Also, I don't think I ever noticed that Thomas Dewulf was in here. I don't recall if I had... This is one of the drawbacks of the way that I've organized everything here. There are some specifics I'm looking for. Hendrik Dewulf evicted the family of the healer Natan from the Barber's Tower, as it was then called. I have rooted out the Barber's brood, he is recorded to have gloated. But his great-grandson Gideon, the motley baron, for his brindled hair, restored the tower and made it a place of healing again. Of course, the equipment in this room dates from the current century, but Gideon's other nickname was the Cutter. It is rumored that he brought corpses for dissection, even that he was a vivisectionist, but the latter was probably a slander. But one way or another, scholars have been cutting up corpses in here for a very long time. So Thomas Dewulf bust carved from limestone, named for Baron Silence. In fact, possibly the reason why it is called Hush House. Thomas Dewulf, 2nd Baron Brandkrug, who they called Baron Silence, built this observatory in 1576, by happy coincidence, just in time to observe the passage of the Great Comet in 1577. So, very clearly, I wasn't sure if it was in Thomas's room or if it was one of those ones you inferred, but we have another location for our busts. So technically, given that we've used up all of the Dewulfs here, we have one more spot, so who was feared more than he merited. Oh, actually, we've got it right here. So we've got Gideon Dewulf, which we can chuck onto this area. So actually looking pretty good in terms of our librarians. We would put Van Loren. Again, I'm trying to focus on the things that we know for sure. So we would put Van Loren here. I don't believe we have evidence for the 9th and 10th, although you might be able to make some guesses in terms of individuals' relations to each other. I definitely know who's in the 4th. In fact, one of the things you can do is get some of the hints from the spots. So we've got the 4th librarian, Anish with the plaque, who died not but passed with him. Anish with the plaque, who brought a key long lost. Anish with the plaque, who served 2 masters as best he could. Anish with the plaque, who saw his fate and did not shirk it. Anish with the plaque, who departed but did not forget. Anish with the plaque, who returned to complete what he began. This, of course, would be me. And if I have a successor, their image might stand here. There's something I was looking for. I've already gone over just with these recollections. It's worth mentioning here that these are not people who would necessarily wind up on the pedestals. We've got Fraser Strathcoyne. This bust is shaped from beeswax. Careful with it. This bust is carved from alabaster. Just trying to think if there were any other William Harries, this bust is cast in highly polished bronze. And Hush House Key, heavy enough that it takes both hands to turn, heavy enough to brain someone, though you need both hands for that too. I think I'm going to leave it there. It's a bunch that I can talk about, but I don't want to go too much later. But yeah, I do have some a bit of a game plan that I need to work out today in terms of how how I'm going to get the memories. Again, I specifically need 4, but it would be nice if I can work towards some kind of like an old moment or something. Again, just if I can take advantage of all the scale stuff at a time when I have somebody I can hire, that would be lovely. But something we will handle in a future episode. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.